Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Peter. I'm newly back from the land of piazzas, palazzos, and pizza, and I have some sketchbooks here that I've been drawing in while I was in Italy. I was there for a month, but now I'm back, revitalized, reinvigorated, reignited, and ready to go. I filled up about two sketchbooks while I was there. One of my classes was about drawing in a sketchbook. The first one I'll show you right here is this is just for the art history class I took, which is when we just went around looking at different artistically relevant places. Cathedrals, churches, paintings, sculptures, which there are a lot of in the main city we were staying in, Florence. Uh, and it was nice because I've taken a lot of art history classes, and usually, I mean, half the time they're via Zoom online or something. You're just like watching recorded lectures with slideshows, or if you're in class, there's something up on the screen, and you're looking at the little pictures in the history book, in the textbook. But here, there we were, in the middle of the basilicas that we were talking about, and there are all these famous paintings and the chapels on each side, and it was a really cool experience to be there in the middle of it all. And so many of the paintings were, in their original place. The frescoes, oil paintings, tempera paintings. I don't know, the architect. I don't know. It's just so much, so cool. Something I've always wanted to do. So I'm glad I got to do it. So here, I'm just showing you this so that I show you everything I've done. Look, it's a bunch of notes. Okay, because we had to write little essay responses, and I still have one more final essay I have to write. But yep. So we went to Siena. A lot of incredible things. I took so many pictures, but it's hard for me to, it's like the pictures, they just don't do it. Here's one day I was waiting for a lecture to start, and I was drawing in this sketchbook. Pretty cool drawing. I like that one, actually. You get the idea. All right, so these next two sketchbooks, I started in this one. These were actually for a sketchbook class. And basically, the teacher there in that situation was it's very open-ended, very encouraging. I liked it because I think it could have been very strict. Anyone in this situation, if they were teaching this class, could have been like, like draw all these little, architectural motifs. Make sure you get all of this down, or, study and copy these famous paintings and stuff. But they were just making sure that we were just getting like motivated and inspired and drawing a lot, right? So I don't know. I liked it a lot. First page, didn't draw on the very first page because you can't. I started out just with pencil drawings, then I'd come in later with watercolor, touch them up a little bit. This is where I stayed, the Piazza dei Ciompi. And there's a little crest I saw, some windows, flowers, some people lounging about. And I haven't used a lot of watercolor in my day, but I mean, I've used it some, but I'd like to use it more. It's pretty fun. Via di San Cristofano. I've noticed a lot of the drain pipes there had these weird, I think I call them drain pipe mufflers, like some sort of system to, I think, slow down the flow of water so that it wasn't so fast or something. Cappuccino, of course. You get it. A lot of these things I was calling scooters. I don't really know what to call them. I did see a few nice classic old Vespas, so a little bit of collage here. Just drawing a lot of little things. I very quickly got intimidated by trying, sitting there and looking at an amazing cathedral or a church or some incredible piece of architecture or sculpture, and to me, it would start to feel like a chore to try to undertake drawing something like that. And then I'd be like, maybe I'm just like, It's like that. That's like years and years of someone else's work. Why does it have to be hours and hours of mine? Let me just do some little drawings here of things that I'm enjoying, the little highlights, like a little drain here that looks cool. Yeah, I can appreciate this. The texture of the marble, some little weird owl creature. I don't know. I don't think this leaf is even glued in at all. It just stuck it in there, and it was wet. Here's a dead bug. There were a lot of bugs we killed. This is the Santissima Annunziata, I think it's called. Just another watercolor rendering. I kind of captured it here. The architecture is not accurate, but just the feeling of how this down here was kind of a cooler, darker feeling. And then up here in this dome over the high altar, I guess you'd call it, just this very warm, grand, dramatic uh, painting. And it was really cool. Obviously, in here were actual figures. There was some actual scene, probably with God or saints or some pivotal moment was unfolding, but I just kind of tried to capture the shape and feeling I got from looking at it. Some little specific bits. These little bits are from this smaller parts of this fountain and sculpture outside of this church. It says, in case you can't read, I will say, pigeons get very fluffy and bathe in a fountain. There were a lot of pigeons. Then I wrote, people churn in the piazza around the splashing water in the fountains. Then I wrote, fountain. This is also, I think I was sitting on the same step where I drew this fountain. I turned my head a little to the left and looked up a little bit, and I saw this little ridge, this I don't know what word I was just looking for, but I saw this and I drew it, fluffy clouds over rigid architecture. Then I looked down between my feet and I saw this stone step texture, very rough and eroded. It looks very weird, I know, but it did look really weird. And then later on another day, me and some of my classmates walked and sat down on a park bench, and I drew this, a view from across the Arno, which is the main city, going through the city, Florence. Palm tree of some sort. And then I started to finally experiment with to actually experiment with the watercolors. Like obviously this was normally a green tree that I saw, but I started to, what happens if I paint down in red and then add some green on top? And these were just little doodles, and I was just experimenting with, this is yellow on top of pink and overlapping with different shades of blue, and I don't know what was going on, but I was having a good time with it. These were all drawn at a place on top of a mountain in Florence called San Miniato. There's a very nice church up there. Apparently this saint, who the namesake of this church, he was also I drew this little truck because I saw a monk or maybe a friar drive it across the church's front piazza and get out of it. I just thought it was funny seeing there were no other vehicles up there, and there was just one monk driving a little vehicle around. They had a little gift shop up there where they would sell little preserves and liqueurs and honeys made that the friars made. Oh yeah, I wrote it right here. The priests at San Miniato al Monte drive a small truck across the parking lot of their mountaintop church and restock the jars of fruit preserves they make and sell at the gift shop there. Previous page. And this weird hand is a drawing exercise we did with the class where I was holding up. The idea was to do a contour drawing of sorts, but just keep going until you just keep looking at every single little detail you can find. Be like, just like keep going, like don't stop. So that's why it looks so weird, but also interesting. It was a fun exercise. I added all the weird little lines and textures. At first I was adding only like all the wrinkles, but the longer I kept going, I felt like I actually was like starting to draw like my actual fingerprints. The more longer I looked, the more details I saw, you know. And at the top of this, oh yeah, well, there's a story about it's an interesting story about the Saint Minius, who this place is named after because some Roman emperor tried to have him killed for not making sacrifices to Roman gods, which I think is pretty common reason to have people killed in that day. And then he said no, of course, and the Roman emperor tried having him killed several different ways, like having him drawn and quartered, having him stoned, and this guy just wouldn't die, and he was so finally, the Roman emperor, down in the middle of the city of Florence, just chopped his head off once and for all to be done with it. And then Saint Minius just calmly picked his head right back up again, walked across the Arno and up to the top of this mountain where this church is, and that's where they made him a little. That's where the church was eventually built. A few hundred years later, I guess. I think they probably made a little shrine for him there or something pretty quickly. Here I'm continuing to experiment with color a little bit more. Like you can see me like layering some stuff here. When I was looking at this bike, Also, once again here, I was trying the little exercise I did with the hand, where I was just trying to get all the little details I was looking at. And of course, I chose some of my own colors. Like this was not a blue tire. This was a boring black tire. I was like, let me do it blue because I can and because I want to. There's a little book cart that a guy would set out in the middle of our out in front of our apartments sometimes, most days of the week. Mostly Italian books, so I never bought any. Although I probably should have. I bought other books at other bookstores. There's a little bit of collage here, mostly made of parts of tickets and ticket stubs from different places we went, like the Duomo in Siena. The place called the Boboli Gardens, which is a giant, beautiful garden area made by the Medicis. This is all these little blocks here from an Anselm Kiefer exhibit. It's a contemporary artist. As you see here, it says Uffizi. That's an amazing gallery there of art. It has like Renaissance art, but also ancient Roman statues. And here's a crow that I found. This says napping, but also says the truth here at the bottom, dead. It was a dead crow in a park, and as soon as I finished drawing it, probably took me like 30 minutes to do this, maybe a little more. I had sat down and I was like putting some finishing touches on it, and this old man came along walking through the park, and he looked at it very thoughtfully. It was like on the edge of the path. It was like right here, here's the path, and then here's the grass up here. He stood there looking down at it for maybe a couple minutes, very just silently looking down at it. And after a while, he reached down and grabbed it with his bare hand and just moved it up onto the grass. I thought that was nice of him. I mean, I feel like I have it ingrained in me not to touch dead animals, but I guess he cared a little bit more about either its dignity, or maybe he just wanted to clear the path of a dead bird. I'm not sure. Now, the one thing I've noticed about Italy, especially later in the night, people just hang out. People are just out in the street, in the piazzas, which a piazza is just like a square in the city, just like an open area. People are just chilling out there all the time, more than I ever see in any American city that I've been to, especially late at night. Even at like 11 p.m., at like a midnight, people still just be chilling out there, just conversing, chatting, having a drink, having a cigarette. They're just out there sitting around. Like, I don't know what maybe they just have late bedtimes, or maybe those are just the hooligans. They don't really seem like hooligans. I don't know. They seem like most of them regular people, but they just like hanging out outside with each other. It's pretty good vibes. Pretty cool. Here's a good. It's just a lot more watercolor experimentation. This one, if I had to use one word to describe my experience with this one, it's I don't know, overworked. There's so many. I just kept on. I probably spent hours on this one, and I probably could have spent so much less time. I mean, I like how it kind of looks in the end, but I just kept on adding more. Just kind of struggling. I was battling with this piece. I was, but I like how it looks in the end. Maybe it was worth it. This one and these two pieces were inspired by the Anselm Kiefer exhibit that we went to see, which is that uh, contemporary artist that we went to see. Uh, he does a bunch of. I mean, if you don't know about him, look up some of his paintings. But he does like a lot of, like thickly globbed on paint, which I know is kind of overdone sometimes. But he gets he I don't know. It was inspiring. He had one room that was full salon style, like 40 or 60 paintings, um, like on the walls and ceiling, and then on the middle of the in the middle of the room there was a huge mirror table, so it made the room even bigger and more full of all these paintings. And then some of the paintings he would like distress them, even though they were already like globs of paint and there were crazy things happening with the paint. uh, he would distress them by like if they had like metal elements in the paint, he would subject them to like electrical currents and stuff like that. Anodize them, I think might be the word. Or he would burn them with a torch. Or somehow it was saying in the museum that he would put them in barrels with radioactive material and radiate the paintings so that they would look sick, like literally sick. And a lot of them did. Like some of the ones mounted on the ceiling looked like they were about to like have massive globules of paint dripping down, or already had, or I don't know. It was just kind of eye candy as far as texture and stuff goes. When I was in Siena, cafe owner there says, cafe owner in Siena asked me to draw her storefront when we sat down to lunch. I had a pork chop. Yeah. So this one you can see I wrote Peter Draws here because I knew she's gonna, and she did. She took a picture of it to post online, so at least I got a little bit of credit that way. So many cool little vehicles there. Even they have like little trash trucks. They're just tiny little pocket-sized trash trucks, little pocket-sized fire trucks. Because so many of the streets are just so tiny and narrow. Half the people just ride little scooters and stuff. Here's me doing some sketches from various bits of sculpture and painting. It's not my strongest suit, but I think when I took that life drawing class, it might have helped a little bit. A pile of air dried pasta on the table made from scratch by my roommate. True. Made by Alex. I had 3 roommates there: Alex, Brian, and Roman. Yeah. Then I tried doing some portraits because I was inspired by, well, there are a lot of portraits in the art galleries there, usually of famous, like dukes and Medicean rulers, etc. So here's Alex. Portraits are not easy. Here's me. Also, I bought at one of the art galleries. I bought a book called like 500 Portraits or something, and I was encouraged that a lot of the portraits didn't look all perfect and in the style of high Renaissance painting. So I was like, yeah, I can make myself look a little bit crazy, and I don't have to stick to some predefined notion of what a self-portrait is supposed to look like. I can go off the rails a little bit or a lot. Then I tried it again. different results. Some more marble sculpture studies here, sketches. These are all sculptures I saw around a place called the Palazzo Vecchio or in the Uffizi. The Uffizi just means the offices. But now there's art in there. I don't know if there was art when it was offices. Siena side street, up and down, side to side, only straight lines but no straight paths. Siena was much less touristy, but there was a beautiful cathedral there, an amazing center piazza where everything came to. It was like shaped like this, and like a bunch of lines came together like this with a central like building and tower, and I don't know, it was a lot more hilly too, a lot more hilly, which made it interesting. Late night visions here, sitting out. Sometimes we would sit outside on the steps of the piazza, me and my classmates, and just chill late at night. By chill, I mean, maybe a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Try drawing some more of my classmates. Here's Sid. There's Alex's foot again, my roommate. There's Reese. Sid, Brian, Alex giving Brian drawing lessons. Here is a statue called John the Baptist by Bogny. We're drawing at the Bardini Gardens this day. This one is one of the, I was still experimenting with watercolors, and it's kind of one of the ones where I liked it better before I watercolored it. But I'm still glad I watercolored it, because you're not going to get better at something if you're afraid of doing it, and so you never do it. So I watercolored it, and I'm not sure what I should have done better to make it look better. I don't know, be slower, be quicker. I don't know. I think one of the things I liked about the tree in the first place was all the texture and the lines, because it was so old and gnarled, and maybe I don't like that when I watercolored it lost some of the texture, so I should find a way to maintain some of that. Maybe I should have just done lighter washes or something. More scribbles and sketches here. Oh yeah, this is the watercolor I was using. It gave me some sense of ironic pleasure to draw my watercolor palette in only black and white. I bought this when I got to Florence because, like some people warned me too late, that's my fault because I only mentioned what I was doing after I got there. These M. Graham watercolors that I tried to take with me, I packed them in a little watercolor, a little travel case. These are not good to travel with because look, it even says prevents hardening here, and I wanted them to harden a little bit because they're made with honey, and some of the colors will very easily melt right out of the little pockets of a travel case. But I got this. This is also a very nice brand, Sennelier, I guess is how you say it, and it worked great for me. That's what I did all my watercolors with, this little guy. And I would have a little paper towel here if I need a dab. And then I did all my watercoloring with this Pentel water brush. This little guy right here. Worked amazing. I'll just go like boop, boop, boop. And I'll go boop, 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 and watercolor. And so I think I'm going to do some more of that. I'll make some videos with that. And let's keep exploring that option because I've been having a great time with it. I mean, just these two together, it's such a capable but compact little combo. Love it. Plus, eventually, I went and got these from another art store, these are watercolor pencils. But as you can see, I didn't use these very much. None of them, I didn't even sharpen any of them, but they're an option now. They're an option. That's pretty nice too. Okay. Yeah, here's some more watercolor experiments. A little more abstract. I mean, I'd like to think they're still inspired by things I've seen here. I mean, it's things I saw in Florence. It was never a requirement in this sketchbook class to only, draw things that we saw. It was just to be there and to draw, I think. I don't know. It was pretty loose. Some art classes are like that. And my professor did encourage me to keep on trying different things. So this is one instance of me doing that. I found an old 1968 Italian encyclopedia by the side of the road. Actually, me and Alex were walking somewhere and we found a stack of about 15 of them. We were going to dinner and I grabbed one of them and took it home to cut apart and collage with later. Yeah. You can kind of see different parts there. I mean, it took a while to cut all the pieces out. You can see I have some more pieces here that I also cut out but never made it into the final thing. A little baby, another dial. I put one dial on the back of this guy. The top of Mars. It says Tempesta, like question mark. Is that a storm? Is that what it's saying? I think that's Mars. Some people racing. I think this was on an article illustrating like camera frame rate, maybe. I'm not sure. And then this thing. I think this is supposed to be hemoglobin or something. Maybe someone who knows more will recognize it. I don't know. Once again, it was in a foreign language to me. I didn't become anywhere near fluent in Italian while I was there. So oh well. And then we went to this one cool zoological museum called La Specola. And they had these amazing, just endless rooms of incredible rocks and like crystals and minerals and stuff. And so I was doing some sketching in there. I could go back there. I wish I had gone back there, but it was just every day there. I was either too tired to do everything or I was doing everything, and I never went anywhere twice really. More experiments. This one I also feel like I overworked and never really liked either, but looking at it now, no, I still don't like it, but that's okay. You keep moving on. Right, that's all for here. And then started a second sketchbook, and this one I think is all pencil scribbles. I think towards like the last third of the month, I was getting more and more tired, and just kind of feeling crazier, and just my drawings got like looser and looser and less attached to anything, any specific thing in reality, as you can probably see. Yeah, but I was still having fun with it, just scribbling. Love it. For all the pencil drawings, I use this pen, this pencil, it's a Zebra Delgard 0.5. Yeah, I love this pencil. A lot of these drawings I also did on trains, as we were taking a train out to Ravenna or Siena, or we went to the beach at Monterosso one time. So like the quick scribbly nature of these drawings worked well with the I mean, the trains there are very nice, very smooth, but still, it's not perfectly still. You don't want to sit down and try to do a perfect and careful precision drawing if the train has got a slight rumble and a slight wiggle to it. You know what I mean? It's better to embrace the rumble and work with it. Here's me trying to draw Alex again. Sometimes he would sit across from me on the train, and I feel like a lot of the times I'm afraid to try to draw portraits of people because I know since I'm not good at it, it will probably turn out pretty bad, and I don't want them to be like, offended or be like, "Is that what I look like?" or "Why'd you draw me so bad?" Or anyways, I like drawing him because he didn't say any of that stuff, and he just liked being drawn, and he was very understanding of however it turned out. He's a good subject to be drawn. I don't know how else to describe it. Very, very tolerant sitter. I like these. I like these 4 pages of drawings. I think I probably did all these in one day. I think I did these when we were in Ravenna, maybe. That's where Dante died. Went and saw his grave. Went and saw some churches there with some amazing Byzantine, it was like 5th century Byzantine mosaics. Beautiful. Another try at drawing Alex, but he just looks like some weird version of who's that guy that plays Elvis Presley in that one recent Elvis Presley biopic? Scribbles. And then I started we went to a place called the Bargello, which is basically a big museum of statues. And then I was doing like gesture drawings of the statues. Some of these are like 1, 2. You see them; they're kind of in pairs, like a blind gesture drawing, then one with my eyes open. These first ones are all just ones I only took a few seconds to do, and then eventually I started just still in a very gestural format, filling them out a little more, not getting too serious with it. Sorry, this. Just keeping it fun, loose, casual, drawing the body parts. The weird thing about drawing sculptures is sometimes drawing from sculptures, sometimes the sculptures themselves are very odd. Like these ones are these weird little muscular but still very bulbous cherubs or babies or something. It's like if I draw these right, they're still going to look weird, but it was still good exercise. It's still fun. I mean, that happens in real life too. And if you're drawing a person, sometimes you look at, I mean, that's the weird thing about drawing feet for me is feet look weird even in real life. But I think maybe if you get good at it, you figure out how to make it work. I don't know. There's obviously solutions. Like this guy had like the barrel chest from the gods. In fact, he might have been a god. That's probably Hercules or something. I don't know. Drawing, and there's so many different sculptures in there, and they all looked amazing. The cool thing about drawing sculptures too is, as opposed to like from life, is that a sculpture can hold like some crazy pose as long as you want, forever. Even if they're like mid jump, they can hold that pose forever. Oh, I never finished this drawing. That's okay. These look pretty cool. I actually totally forgot about these ones. I haven't looked at them since I turned the page in the middle of whenever I stopped working on this one. All right, then on the last night, I was trying to draw all my roommates. So this is Brian. He doesn't actually look like this, okay? This drawing makes him look like 30 or 40 years older than he is. Here's Roman. That's a pretty bad drawing. I might have had a couple of drinks at this point, okay? But this one of Alex, I think, looks pretty good. I think maybe I just needed to get warmed up drawing Brian and Roman. So I drew Alex, and that's probably the best one I've drawn of Alex so far, so I don't know. Drawing people is hard, but I don't want to be discouraged, I got to keep trying. Then there's just a few more pages here that never got filled. That's okay. It's pretty close to being full. I think it's pretty awesome. Thanks for watching, everyone. I will tell you some more cool stories about my Italian adventures soon. But for now, thanks for looking at these sketchbooks with me, and more drawings soon. My fingers are itching for drawing, painting, and I don't know, making sculptures. Okay, bye. Go already. No, you hang up. Guys. Okay, bye. Okay, fine. Fine.